Hello guys, welcome to Netcode-Hub channel. In this video, I will cover Blazor component communication. Component communication at times could be a headache, especially when you want to send or receive data from child component to parent or vice versa. Calling or invoking method from this component at times could be an issue. I will cover all of these in this video. The objective of this video is to help you understand how Blazor components can communicate with each other. Also, how they can send data. It could be in a list of models or a single data to each component. As usual, I am Frederick, and the source code of this project will be available at GitHub. You can also subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so, and click on the notification icon to receive updates as soon as I upload new video. We're going to talk about 3 ways of component communication in Blazor. Now, the first one is the parent to child communication. The second one will be child to parent communication. And the last one will be component to component communication. I have 3 projects created already, and I'll put this project to GitHub. So you can just go in there and I'll clone each of them and I'll review. So let's first talk about parent to child component. You can see when you check these pages, I have 2 Blazor components. The first one is a parent, and you can see we have child component over here. And a child component is now referred into a parent component. So when you have any Blazor component, whereby you call this Blazor component in another component, the component that you are calling becomes the child component, as you've seen over here. So this is a child component. Now, what are we doing? When you check here, you can see we have a list of products here, and this product is a model that we have created, and that is a model here. So this is just a class which has ID and our name as parameters. And when you check this parent component, as soon as the page initializes, we are populating this product. So we are adding sample product to this list of products here. So these are the items that we have. So when this page loads, this product model here is going to contain this list. Now, instead of displaying this list on the screen in the parent component, we decide to create a child component and now supply this list to that child component. So you create a child component here, and the child component, we first create a list of products, because here you can see that this is going to accept the parameter coming in. The data type must be the same. The type here, it is a list of this product. Now, when you check the parent component, this is a supply value, and you can see it is also a list. So the type must be the same. So we create the same type in the child component. And now, what makes it special that we have this parameter specified? As soon as you specify this parameter, it tells this page that it's going to accept this property that we have declared here as a supplied value. So, as soon as you put this here, and we try to make a call to this child component, it's going to expose this parameter. So this parameter here, it is what we declared from this child component. This. Now, this is a list of products, so it must accept a list of products of the same type. So we are providing this list of products here. This, you can see they are of the same type. So we create this component, the child component, and that result component, we specify the parameter here, and we supply the value to this. The type must be the same. Now, when it comes to this, we are looping through this list, and now we want to display each of the items in this product. So, when you check this parent component, we can say this home page of this component here, it is a parent. Now, any component that is found within this parent becomes what? A child. So that is why we say it is a parent to child. Now, parents are going to supply value, going to communicate values or data to the child component. And that is what you see here. Let's run this application and see. So we can just click on this to get it run. Alright, so you can see that as soon as the page loads, we have the data displayed on the screen. Now this data, it is coming from the child component. The parent component supplies the list to the child component. And now since we've got the child component here, this child component display or has a method that loops through the data and now display them in a card form. And that is what you see here. The type that we are sending here, it is a list of product. Now, can we also send a single product? Yes, we can. Let's say you have the same thing. You can make a copy of this. So let's duplicate this. Now, instead of the list, we're going to say just a model. So this product. Now, make it as just a single product. Okay. So we need to supply this. Now, let's have a value to this product. So let's close this. So is this equal to new product? Okay. Let's terminate the application first. Now, once you have this, as soon as the page loads, we can just copy one of these. So product. So we're going to say that product is equal to new. Then within this new product, we can even specify the ID equal to 1. Then name is equal to new product name. You can see that we are setting a value for this product. Now we're going to go to the child component. And now in here, we're going to make a copy of this. And now instead of the list, you're going to say it is just a single object, so product. Okay. Now down here, there is a row. So we can also have another row. And this is row here. Now within this row, you can just display this. So let's use span. Now we say product.id. And we can have product.name. So we see that here is going to accept this as a parameter from the parent component. Now let's see. So when you go to this parent component, we have this specified. And as soon as you do that, we can specify this product here and check the type here. It is also product. So the type that it needs is a product. Now let's specify this and now pass in this product. So this is the data that we are passing in. And as soon as you run this, you're going to also have the same product being displayed. You can also specify an integer. You can also pass in a single value as well. So instead of making this product, you can make it the data type as either string or integer. And you're going to provide the same parameter and I receive it over there like that. As you can see, we have it set. So there is a way that you can communicate data from a parent to child. Now let's have a look with the next one. And that is the child to parent communication. So let me open this. Okay, so now this is the child to parent communication. Now here, we're going to supply the value from the child to the parent. The first one was the parent to the child. Now this is from the child to the parent. I have the same component here set. I have the same child and our parent component here. Check this child component. This child component now has the product list inside this method. So we have a button here. And this button is saying receive product list. Now, as soon as I click on this button, we wired it to this event, send product list. Now, when it comes to this event here, we create a list of product. There is a list. And now we are populating this list. So that is what you see here. We provide these values to this list. So as soon as this method is called, this product list gets the data here. Now the next thing is we want to send this list of product to the parent component. This is happening in the chart component. So we want to send this list of product to the parent component. So in doing so, we have to use an event callback method. Now we specify this event callback will be a parameter because we need to receive it in the parent component. So you add this parameter. As soon as you add this parameter, it makes it global. We have this event callback set here. And what is the data type, or what is the type that it needs to return? Since this is a list of products, we specify a list of products. If here it is just a single product, we have to remove this list and maintain the single product. If it is just a data type as integer or string, then we can specify this as string, and that's all. Now we give it a name. So as soon as we click on this button, we populate the data here. And as soon as you populate the data, we want to return the data to the parent component or anywhere this method is invoked. So we call this method, we invoke it here, and now we supply the parameter that it needs. So this is a return type. So we need to supply the same parameter value here. And we see there is a list of product from this product list. So we supplied it. Now let's go to the parent component. When it comes to the parent component, you will see that we call this chart component here. And this chart component has an expose parameter or an event that is known as handle send product list event. When you check the chart component, that is what you see over here. And it is available in there because of this parameter that we specified. Now in the parent component, the type that it is returning here, it is returning a list. Check this. It is an event callback, and the type that it returns is a list. So when you pass in a method name here, you must specify a payload as a list. So this is a method name, and that is a payload that we specify. It is a list that is returning from this method. Now with this list that we have here, we create a list of products here. Then we assign this list onto the list of products that we have created. We do that so that it becomes a public variable, which makes it possible to loop through and display the results here. So as you can see from this list, as soon as this button is clicked, as soon as the button in this chart component is clicked, this event gets fired. As soon as this event gets fired, it returns a list of products. We create a list of product container here. We receive the container from this. We receive the object into that container. We loop through this container here and now display the results. So we see that we are not populating the list of products here. We are receiving it from the chart component and now display it inside this loop within this card. Let's run this application and see. Now the page is ready. So if I click on receive product, this button is coming from the chart component. If you check this, it is coming from the chart component. So when you check the chart component, you will see you have this button here. As soon as I click on this button, this event gets fired. Then populate this, return to this invoke method, making this method available to wherever that use this chart component. Then supply a parameter as a payload to receive this list here. So if I click on this, you will see that I have this object loaded. Now it is not, you see this is a list. We can also make it a single data. So let's make a duplicate of this. Instead of this list, you can also make it as just a single data and handle product, not a list, product. So when this method is called, we can make a call here. So private async task. Now we paste the method. So there is a handle send product event. We paste it here. And now within this, we must have this, right? So this is a method. Now let's stop this. Let's use the same method here. So let's call this in here so we can invoke the method within the same button. So if I click on this button, I want to load the list and I also want to load the single data here. So instead of this, you can just copy this. Now in this page, we can say that dot invoke. So this method here dot invoke async. Let's grab this. And here must be an await. So invoke async. Now within this, we need to specify a single one. So this is a list. So let's make a duplicate of this. Then here, let's specify as a product. So we can just grab this product and now invoke it into this method. Okay, so this is sending just a single product here, as you can see from this. Now within this one, let's see. Now let's remove this method definition. Okay, so now we have this. Now with this list of products, we can just copy this, come down here, and we say that product is equal to new product. Then we can specify the ID as 1, and now the name as new product. So we can have access to this method inside the chat component from this parent. So when you come here, as soon as I click, you see I'm going to have this method, and the return type here, it is what? The product. Like this, and let's specify receive product list. By this time, we're going to be receive just a product. So we can just remove this, receive product. Okay, then we can just have another one as a product list, or not a product list, as just a product. Then in here, let's make a copy of this method. Then we can have access to the definition for this. I know this returning just a single, as you can see, this returning a product list, not a product list, just a product. Okay, so in here we have to remove this product. Then we can now assign this product container to this product here. So once we have this product, we can just come down here. So with this row down here, let's create another one. So row, and we can have our span class. Then in here, product dot, we can have ID. Then again, product dot, we can have name. Now let's run this. So we have this set. Now if I click on receive product, you can see I have the data also being received from here. So this is coming from the chat component and has been accepted or received in the parent component and displayed. Okay, so that's the second one, and that is the chat to parent component. Now let's go to the last one, and that is the component to component communication. This is also called state handling or state container. In this, we have to create a model, as you know already. Now we create our interface implementation class. Now we have our event, and this is a product event. We have a list of products, then we have product count. So this is going to handle a list of, going to contain all the data for product. Now this is going to count the number of products that we have in this list. Okay. Now this method here is going to load the product to this list. Remember that this list here is just an empty container. So you're going to have method here to load a data, a sample data to this product container. After loading, we want to get this current product count and assign the value to this. When it comes to the next one, we have a list of my cart. Now this is going to handle the count of the product in this my cart as a list. This method is going to add a model, that's a product model, to this cart list. So here we are just loading. You're going to have a default value, but with this we're going to supply the value to this to get added. As soon as it gets added, we want to get this integer here or this variable here, counted. So this count, and I get the value stored into this cat count here. There is the interface that we need to create. Now, when you go to the implementation, and that's the product service, we see we create a class, product service, and it inherits the interface. So we can have all the implementations here. That is the event that we created. We say it's a global event, so it is on top here. Now, this is a list that we created in that, and this is also the product count. Now, this is a method. So we see that here, this product list, as soon as this method is called, we want to load this list of items to this list of products here, or this container. As soon as we load this product count all the items in this product list, and now set the value to this product count. So when this method is called, this is going to work. We're going to have the current count here. Everything is working. But in another page, if you want that page to get refreshed, we need to invoke the method here. So you can see this product event, we are invoking it. Also, when you go to the next one, we have a list of my cat here. We have this cat count, and this is a method. And this method, we must provide the model of product. And we add it to the list. Then this cat count, we assign to the list here. When you count it, the value is assigned to this cat count variable here. Then the same thing, we invoke this method. So when you invoke this method, it is telling this page to make it available and to check if there's any page who has subscribed to this. That page is going to re-render or refresh. Now let's see. After doing this, the next thing that you have to do is to to register this in the program.cs file by creating a dependency injection. So we create this is the interface, and that is the implementation class here. Let's go to the index. We inject the interface, we create an instance of this. Now when you come down here, we are subscribing to that event. So you can see we have an event in this product service, and this event is called product event. So we use plus equal to resubscribe. Now after subscription, we have to unsubscribe. So we're going to use this dispose method. And this is coming from using or injecting this iDisposable. Then, since here we use this plus, we can use minus to deduct or subtract, right? Or remove it. So we have to also unsubscribe to this method. So when you perform any event here, which has in connection with this interface, when you call any of that two methods, this event is going to be broadcasted. And this event, since it has subscribed, is going to refresh this page. Now let's see, we have a list of products here, and that is this list. When we have this method known as load data. Now this method is coming from a button that have been wired with an event known as load data here. So you can see that we have this event. When it is clicked, we load this data. Now to load this data, we call this product service, and then there's a method known as load data. As soon as you call that service, when you check this, it's going to populate this product list. After populating, we can have access to this product count. And this event is going to be invoked. So when you go back to this home, the index, you can see that after it has been invoked, we can have access to this product list. The product list here, we are assigning to this product list, the product list from this product service. Because when you check this product service, you can see that after populating, it is assigning the value of this to this product. So this product is going to contain the list of the items here. So that is why we are assigning the list to this product. After doing this, then we loop through this product and now display the result. So you can see we are displaying only name. And we have a button. That is when click. As soon as a button associated with each item here it is clicked, then passing that item, passing to this model. So we call this method, So we call this method known as add product. When it comes down here, it is accepting this as a payload because this is the input. So it receives it over here, and now there's a method known as add to cart service from this product service, and this method needs a model as product. So pass in that model, and as soon as you pass in that model, when you go to the service, as soon as a model is being passed on, this method is invoked. It adds, now it gets count to the current one that we have, then invoke this. Now when you invoke this, we want to display the count of items in the cart. We want to also display the count of items in the product list. So we want to use another component because here we want to do component to component communication. So in another component, that is the main layout, we want to inject this product service, that's the interface. And down here, we are using this product service dot cart count. We are using this icon with this icon as IO or OI cart. Then we want to display the product count. So the total items in the count, the product list, display it in another component. Now to make this work, we have to implement or subscribe to this evoke event. So when this event is being invoked here, it checks which of these pages have subscribed to this event invoke method. Then it checks the main component has subscribed. So it's going to rectify, it's going to refresh this. The index page has also subscribed, and it's going to refresh that and get the current value as set in the service here. That is all that we did. So we have the interfaces, and now we have the one interface and 8 implementation. We have a model. We register the interface in the program.cs file. We inject it into the index, and we call a method inside the interface. Then we also called the method or the variable, the placeholder inside this main layout to display the current count. Now, when we run this, let's see what we have. So that is it. Now, when this page loads, you can see we have my cart as empty, product count is 0. If I click on load data, you can see the current count here of the product gets notified. So this page will render it. And I can see we have 11. So when you count this item, it is 11. Now, if I click on any of these, that is when the method known as add to cart get fired. And as soon as add to cart get fired, it's going to add this method or this model here. As soon as it has been added to the list, it also invoked the method. And now this the same component has also subscribed. So this page is going to also get notified. Now check it and see. So I click on this, you can see we have add to cart as 1. If I click on this, it has changed to 2. Now as soon as it gets rendered, you can see that this highlighted area is going to go off. Now check and see. If I click on this, you can see it has re-rendered, and now we have 3. Click, we have 4, 5, 6, 7. So this can be used whenever you want to create an e-commerce. And e-commerce, you have a cart. Add product to cart. As soon as the user clicks, you have to use this state container or state handling to just communicate and now hold the data or store the count of the items in the list and now display that. But you know, in the new .NET 8 Blazor, we can use session to do that. That is the session layout. Maybe I'll talk about that, separate one in the next video. But for now, these are the 3 ways that components can communicate in Blazor. We've seen parent to child component. We've seen child to parent component. And now we've seen component to component communication. Each of these projects will be put in a GitHub. So please check the description. I'll put the various links in there. You can just go in there and now clone it. Thank you so much for watching this video. I believe this is clear. If you have any issue too, put it at the comment section and I'll attend to you. Thank you. Take care of yourself. And I'm going to catch you up in the next video. But don't forget, if you haven't subscribed, please do that. If you haven't also liked this video, please give me a thumbs up by clicking on that thumbs up icon. Thank you and see you again.